Imagine a month where rainbows flood the streets, where laughter, music, and pride fill the air. That's what we celebrate in June. A time to honor the LGBTQIA+ community, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer or questioning, intersex, asexual, and beyond. It's not just about celebrating diversity. It's about remembering the struggles and dreaming of a more equal tomorrow. It all started on a hot summer night, June 28, 1969, at the Stonewall Inn in New York. When police stormed in to shut down a rare moment of freedom, they didn't expect a revolution. Bricks flew, voices rose, and from that chaos, a movement was born. A year later, the first march took to the streets, laying the foundation for a global tradition. It's more than parades and parties. It's quiet talks, shared stories, and embraces between people once turned away. Now, let me take you on a journey through 10 cities where this spirit lives loudest, where every corner holds a tale worth hearing. San Francisco, California, USA. I still remember my first step into the Castro, where the air pulsed with freedom. Rainbow flags fluttered on every lamppost, like tireless birds painting a sky of color over this foggy city. The scent of fresh sourdough wafted from a little shop on 18th Street, mingling with faint disco beats spilling from somewhere nearby, drawing me into a world where boundaries seemed to melt away. That afternoon, as golden sunlight slipped through the trees, I sat on a weathered wooden bench and met Martha. She wore a faded purple sweater, her thin hands clutching a yellowed black and white photo. "Want to hear a story, dear?" she asked, her voice warm like afternoon tea. I nodded, and she began to recount her steps in the first Pride March here, back in 1972. We didn't have fancy flags or loud music then, just a few dozen of us, holding handmade signs, walking in fear but with our heads high. All we wanted was to be seen, not as ghosts hiding away, but as real people. Her eyes sparkled, not from the sun, but from memories rushing back. She told me how, the night before, she'd sat in her tiny apartment, stitching a banner from scraps of fabric, scrawling, "I am me," in shaky black ink. "I cried as I sewed it," she whispered, "because I knew tomorrow might be the first day I didn't have to pretend." And when she marched, amid jeers and cheers, she felt something she'd never known in her first 30 years. Liberation. San Francisco isn't just home to one of the world's biggest pride celebrations, with millions flooding its streets each year, turning them into a vibrant sea. It's the cradle of pioneers like Martha, who planted seeds of freedom here. I left the Castro at dusk, carrying the image of her smiling at that old photo, maybe of a companion who'd walked beside her through history. This city, with its steep hills and colorful Victorian homes, isn't just a destination. It's a promise that every dream, no matter how small, can come true. Amsterdam, Netherlands. I arrived in Amsterdam on a dazzling summer day, the canals shimmering like silk ribbons under the sun. During Amsterdam Pride, I squeezed onto a little boat drifting along the Prinsengracht, surrounded by hundreds of others, each alive with rainbow flags, fresh flowers, and laughter echoing across the water. The breeze carried the sweet smell of stroopwafels from a canal-side stall, blending with pulsing electronic beats. There, I met Lars, a lanky guy with messy blonde hair, standing at the boat's bow, a beer in hand, staring into the distance. "I never thought I'd dare to be myself," he said when I asked about the rainbow necklace he wore. He'd left a small village 10 years ago, a place where every glance felt like a blade, to find Amsterdam. His first Pride, he stood in the crowd, trembling as he raised a handwritten sign. "I'm Lars, and I love who I want." I cried. He grinned. But this time it was joy. Amsterdam, the first place in the world to legalize same-sex marriage in 2001, isn't just a city of old bridges and bicycles. It's a haven for people like Lars, where every canal whispers a tale of acceptance. As the boat glided past leaning houses, I saw his eyes light up, like he'd found himself reflected in that sparkling water. Toronto, Canada. I reached Toronto on a summer evening, when Church Wellesley Village glowed with neon lights and bar music spilled into the streets. Pride Toronto was in full swing, the air electric with impromptu dances among the crowd. The scent of coffee from a tiny shop mixed with fleeting whiffs of perfume, painting a vivid, unforgettable scene. Under the flicker of a rainbow sign, I met Jay, a street artist with paint-smeared hands, sketching free portraits for passers-by, his smile as bright as the lights. "I grew up in a family that didn't get me," he said as I sat for him. When he came out at 17, his mom wept for a week, not out of anger but fear he'd suffer. Then, at last year's Pride, she showed up in a homemade t-shirt reading, "Jay's mom #1 supporter," leading a cheer squad down Yonge Street. "She even danced to the music," he laughed, eyes shining. Toronto doesn't just host one of North America's biggest Pride events. It's a home for stories like Jay's, where love bridges every gap. As I left, I glanced back at him sketching away, wondering if my portrait might hang in his mom's house. Berlin, Germany. Berlin in summer felt like a wild, colorful dream. I wandered into Schönberg, where tiny bars nestled against old buildings, and techno beats thumped like the city's heartbeat. The smell of German beer hung in the air, mingling with laughter from a group of kids on the sidewalk. In a dimly lit bar, I met Clara, a DJ with green hair and sharp eyes. She'd fled a small East German village where different meant alone, arriving in Berlin with just a backpack and an old vinyl record. I played my first set at Christopher Street Day, and the crowd screamed my name, she said, twirling a silver bracelet. For the first time, she belonged. "Berlin doesn't judge you," she grinned. "It just asks what beat you'll dance to." This city of free spirits wears its scars and victories on every street. As I left, Clara took the stage, lights catching her smile, a living symbol of this sleepless place. Sydney, Australia. I hit Sydney during Mardi Gras, when the city erupted in a fever of color. Oxford Street pulsed with drums and cheers, the smell of sunscreen mixing with jacaranda blossoms from nearby roads. I stood in the crowd, feeling the rhythm of a festival like no other. Alex, a local friend, dragged me to an old graffiti wall. He pointed to red scrawl, "Alex loves Tom, forever." "I wrote it during Mardi Gras 2018, he said, voice catching. That night, amid music and flashing lights, he proposed to Tom, his boyfriend. He said yes right here, and the crowd cheered like it was their moment too. Alex laughed, eyes gleaming. Sydney isn't just a stage for a grand pride party. It's a witness to simple, profound love stories. As moonlight hit the harbor, I saw Alex standing there, that wall still holding his vow. Tel Aviv, Israel. Tel Aviv in Pride season was scorching in every sense. I stood on Gordon Beach, sand burning my feet, waves crashing alongside music from massive speakers. The crowd danced under blazing sun, rainbow flags whipping in the salty breeze. At a coconut water stand, I met Noah, a young woman with a radiant smile. Her first Tel Aviv Pride. She'd convinced her whole family to join. My parents didn't understand me, she said, but they wore rainbow shirts and held balloons for me. That year, her dad hugged her in the crowd, whispering, "You're my pride." Now, every pride, her family's there. A testament that love can cross any divide. In a region thick with tradition, Tel Aviv shines as a beacon of progress. As the sun dipped, I watched Noah dance with her parents, proof the city doesn't just host pride. It heals hearts. Barcelona, Spain. Gaixample in Barcelona at night was a magical realm. I walked cobblestone alleys, golden lights spilling from tiny bars, the smell of tapas drifting out, flamenco guitar notes floating in the distance. The energy felt like an endless dance. In a small tapas joint, I met Miguel, the owner, his calloused hands and kind smile welcoming me. He'd opened this place to honor Juan, his partner who passed 5 years ago. We met at Pride Barcelona in 1995, he said, pointing to a photo on the wall, 2 young men embracing under a rainbow flag. Every glass of wine he poured was a thank you to the community that gave them a place to love fearlessly. One always said Barcelona was home, he murmured. The city weaves love and memory into every stone. As I left, Miguel set a glass before Juan's photo, a quiet ritual in this vibrant heart. London, UK. I strolled through Soho during Pride in London, a light rain wetting the rainbow flags strung across the streets. The crowd sang on, shoes splashing puddles, a speaker blaring Sweet Caroline. The smell of hot sandwiches from a food truck warmed the chilly air. Amid the throng, I met Peter, a silver-haired man with gentle eyes. In the 80s, he'd been kicked out of his home for being gay, wandering these very streets. "I thought I had no future," he said. Now, he leads a support group for LGBTQIA+ teens, helping them find the light he once lacked. This Pride, a boy hugged me and said, "Thank you." He smiled, voice breaking. London wears its healed scars and fresh hopes proudly. As the rain cleared, I saw Peter raise a sign, "You are enough." A message Soho's chaos and warmth always carry. New York City, New York, USA. Standing before the Stonewall Inn, I felt history's weight on my shoulders. Christopher Street buzzed, small but alive, rainbow signs in windows, laughter echoing. Pizza scents mixed with flowers hanging from lampposts. Sam, a local guide, shared his grandmother's tale. A tiny, fierce woman who threw her favorite heels at police during the 1969 riot. She said they were her best pair, but freedom was worth more, he chuckled. Each Pride, he comes here to honor her, the spark of a movement. New York, where it all began, still beats strong. At sunset, I watched Sam lay a flower at Stonewall's door, a silent tribute to those who stood up. Copenhagen, Denmark. Copenhagen in Pride season was peaceful yet warm. I walked a cobblestone path near Nyhavn, pastel houses mirrored in the water, rainbow flags draping balconies. The smell of fresh Danish bread from a bakery stopped me, watching a gentle march unfold. There, I met Hans and Eric, an elderly couple holding hands, moving slowly. They'd married in 1989, when Denmark first recognized same-sex unions. "Just us and a witness in City Hall," Hans said, gripping Eric's hand. But the world shifted that day. Every Pride, they walked together, a reminder their love outlasts time. Copenhagen cherishes enduring love. As the sun set, I saw them on a bench, smiling at each other. A perfect picture in this tender city. These stories aren't just about a month of celebration. They're about people who dared to live true, from Stonewall to every corner of the globe. From Amsterdam's canals to San Francisco's hills. Each place writes a chapter in a long book of struggle and triumph. Visit them, listen close. You'll hear tales that stir your soul.